Hey guys, Kevin the Comic Doctor coming to you from my shop here in Oshawa to talk to you a little bit today about CGC and the crazy wait times we currently are experiencing. So I thought I'd come on here and do a live stream and do a quick kind of one-on-one and talk a little bit about, again, what's going on, what's causing these extreme wait times. I don't know if you are privy to this information or not, but I did go to their website and do a little bit of research. And let's see if I can get that over there for you. Yeah, there we go. So this is they posted a bit of a notice about a week and a half ago indicating exactly what's going on. And basically they're, you know what, just like PSA with the cards, I heard actually today that PSA is no longer taking cards. The wait time was, I think the wait time was over a year. So today they actually, from what I heard from some of my clients, is they actually stopped taking cards for the time being. Well, CGC basically writes here that they've experienced extraordinary growth in demand of our expert and impartial certification service. Unfortunately, this has resulted in significantly longer turnaround times for our trading card bulk and trading card economy grading tiers, as well as select comic grading tiers. We sincerely apologize, blah, blah, blah. They go on to say that, the grading shouldn't be rushed, and yeah, that's true. They don't want to compromise their quality. What's interesting, though, here is they've hired more than 70 new employees in the last 3 months, and they've purchased an additional 21,000 square foot space. Quite a beautiful space, too, from the pictures. I think I have some shots here of them. Are they? Yeah, check this out. They've actually increased their size in terms of square footage, because they've actually either leased out or purchased a new building. The new building right here on the right, and I think they're continuing with the original facility as well too, by the sounds of it. So that's a good thing. Anyhow, and apparently they are continuing to hire. So that's also a good thing. Hopefully this will speed up turnaround times, because as I'll show you now, they are pretty ugly. As you can see, modern tier is 50 days. In the old days, when the turnaround times weren't so bad, they're usually around 28 to 30 days. Values at 76 days. That's pretty long. Economy usually in the good old days was around 40 to 48 days. Now it's at 67 days. Even the standard tier, which never really, was usually around a 15-day. Actually, I think standard was 5-day at one time. I could be wrong, but it's at 19 days now. And of course, express, which is usually a 5-day turnaround. Yeah, no. So standard was always a 15-day. Now it's at 19 days. Standards at express is at 7 days. Usually it was a 5 days. And of course, their walkthrough is exactly the same as always, the same day. And a reholder service is 35 days, which is pretty standard as well. So yeah, I know. Hi, Mike. How you doing? Thanks for coming out. But you know what? It's what's going on here, guys. I mean, I'll be honest, my own submissions have increased dramatically over the last 7 months. Ever since, well, I wouldn't say immediately when COVID reared its ugly face, things were kind of okay. And then as we settled into this new reality, business started picking up. And I know I talked to a lot of people about this. Is it because people have more expendable funds now because they're not going on trips, they're not going to movies, they're not going to sporting events, so there's a lot of extra cash, so maybe people are now diverting that or rechanneling that money into their hobbies, or maybe rediscovering old hobbies that they had, because it's not only the comic book world, right? It's almost all the collectibles. I know that the sports cards have gone through the roof in terms of the prices. I mean, as well as, again, I mentioned PSA is going bonkers as well with their grading. So it's not just comics. It's not exclusive to comics. It's comics. It's cards, all collectibles, toys as well. I have a friend at work who's really, really hardcore into those Masters of the Universe the new the new figurines, I guess, and like a retro style Masters of the Universe toy. And I joined a Facebook group that she's a part of, and boy, people are going crazy for these things. They're hunting them down in all the Walmarts, and they're letting everybody know where they are, and they're selling out at Target in the States, and at Walmart here, and in Toys R Us here in Canada. So I mean, it's toys as well. Actually, I'm also a big fan of classic cars too, and I have a lot of friends that are mechanics. And apparently, if you have that engine you wanted to soup up, it's not a great time either, because parts are impossible to come by. So if you're looking to soup up that V8, the parts might not be there for you. I'm looking over to my hey guys, how you doing? Hey Chris. Yeah, I know. They stay in the mailroom for a long time also. I've been kind of lucky, because the last few shipments I've sent in, I've always had an express book included. So I might have like 30 or 40 or 50 moderns, but then I always have that one express, so I can put that Magic EX on the or the walkthrough WT on the box, which seems to get them through a little quicker. Now, I don't know if they do that with standard or not. Maybe I shouldn't say this, but I did send in some books this week that I just put ST on there, and it went through right away. It went right through the mailroom. So I don't know if that's what's going on with that. Yeah, and I agree that too. I think a lot of people have turned comic books as an alternate investment route. You're right. I mean, I've talked to some people about this as well. I found it hard to believe, but apparently, like some investment groups are actually buying high-end collectibles and creating these funds that you can actually invest in. So, if a particular group has, 15 AF-15s and 3 or 4 Hulk 181s, or and 10 or 15 or 20 Wayne Gretzky rookie 10-0. So they're basically building these huge collections that they're now letting others invest into. So if that's the case, if that's what's going on, that's kind of scary for the little old collector like me and you, because it's going to drive the prices up, and God knows for how long. Yeah, Mike. Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. So even when you want to fix your engine around, on your lawnmower or what have you, you're having a hard time getting parts. So yeah, it's a crazy thing, guys, and I don't know what to say. I also, when it comes back to the CGC thing, I do know that they've had a super increase in doing the signature series special events in Sarasota. Todd McFarlane will go there, Kevin Eastman will go there, and they'll have a special signing with them. And that's something they've just been doing constantly since the downfall of the Comic Con. So and what kind of stinks about that is, not only are they using manpower to organize this and facilitate this, but then they have to grade everything. And they've promised everybody like 3 weeks grading turnaround time. So, and it supersedes everybody else. So if I have books that have been there, waiting for 2 months, and all of a sudden they have this huge Kevin Eastman signing, which they have just done, those books will take precedence over mine, even though mine were there first. So that kind of stinks. I don't really love that, but what can I say? Yeah, like I just said, I think they're keeping an original facility, Chris, in Sarasota. They're keeping. I'll put the picture back on here for you. Let me transition it over, right here. So these are the two facilities here. The one on the left is their original facility in Sarasota, and then there's another facility they just picked up in Sarasota as well. So they have two facilities now, and like I mentioned earlier, they're doing a giant hiring spree. So any Americans who would like to work at CGC, let's see here. I think it says something about that down here. Yeah, right here. Interested in growing with CGC? Learn more about the wide range of available positions at Collectible Group Careers. Start by June 30th. So 2020. So they're actively looking, and there's a $1,000 sign-on bonus. So they're actively looking for new people. I never clicked on this. Let's see what happens. So, there you go, guys. All sorts of positions at CGC. Again, for us Canadians, unless you have a green card, it's no good to us. But if you're an American and you want a job in sunny Florida, well, there's a whole bunch of positions there. So, yeah, I know. That's what stinks about it, Mike. Well, there's going to be a learning curve for sure. You know, they hire new graders, and then the new graders got to learn. I don't think new graders are going to be handling, you know, the high-end books. So, but the moderns, right? And some of those value books, yeah, maybe. They have to learn somehow. I don't know. I have no idea how they train down there. I'd love to actually interview somebody from CGC. I don't think they'd actually come on here to talk about stuff like that, but I'd love to know how they train somebody to become a grader and how much time it takes. I mean, you know, I'm a teacher, as you all know, or maybe you don't know. I am a teacher, so I know how that works. How, you know, how teachers are hired, the hiring practices. I could tell you all about it, but I have no idea down in Sarasota how they determine who's doing what and what the training entails and how long they train for until they're actually like considered a top tier grader. Can't wait till I retire in Florida and go. Yeah, exactly. Wouldn't that be nice? You see that picture? I wouldn't mind being down there right now and with those palm trees, you know? Yeah, I can't imagine them being able to pay too well. You know, how much are we paying to get a book graded? Like, you know, $20 US to grade a book, a modern book. And that book has to go through someone in receiving, has to be unpackaged, and it's got to be sorted. And then it's got to go from the sorting area to the grader, I would assume. The grader does his work, and then it goes to encapsulation. You know, I know a lot of us complain about about these grading not only CBCS, but a lot of us complain about CGC oftentimes too. But if you think about, you know, about imperfections in the slabs, or, you know, things get caught in the slabs, they come back and a part of your book might be shifted or whatever. I don't want to get into that right now, but I mean, if you think about it though, it's going through so many hands. Quality control's got to be something they need to work on, obviously, but it's amazing, you know, for $20, you're getting like probably 5 different people looking at your book. So, you know, yeah, so I don't imagine they pay very well either. I have no idea, but you get $1,000 signing bonus. You can get some groceries with that. Anyways, guys, again, this is a quick one. I want to come on here again and just kind of go over the turnaround times. I don't see any change in turnaround times in the immediate future. Hopefully by summertime, this ugliness will go away. Like 50 days for a modern book is I don't think in all the years I've been doing this, I've seen it hit 50 days for a modern. I think I've seen value get close to 80. I know that. Economy, 67. I don't think I remember them being that long. I think the longest economy was like maybe 48 days. Yeah, and I don't think standards moved from the 15 day, and now it's at 19 days. So I don't know. It's crazy. Yeah, what's up, Johnny? How you doing? Thanks for dropping by. Got to submit a couple. Okay, follow. Which tier do I choose? They are high grade, so declared. Yeah, that's that. You know, that's another question, right? So you have a book. It's a modern book. I'll tell you, I've submitted tons of books like Giant Size X-Men 1, even before, like, Giant Size X-Men 1 has exploded, as we all know. Every book's exploded, as we all know. But I've sent Giant Size X-Men 1 down to CGC under the modern tier, even when it was valued more than you know, the $200. In fact, they even use, I think, the Giant Size X-Men in some of their pictures for modern tier books. But the question is, there's two problems with that. If you put down $200 for those Ultimate Fallout books and they're worth more than that, they're insured for what you put on the package. So if you do the submission form and you say that Ultimate Fallout's worth $200 and they grade them for you, and something, God forbid, happens to your comic books, they're insured for $200. That's one thing, one bit of warning for you. Now, can you do it though? I think you probably can. Oftentimes, guys who have a lot of experience with CGC often say, put the books where they really need to go. Don't cheap out when it comes to that. So if your Ultimate Fallout books are worth, I'm not even sure what they're worth now, but if you guesstimate they're a $700 book, for example, then put them in the right tier. And then they're going to get to the right person to grade them appropriately accordingly. Okay. I don't know. I still have guys who want to submit them under the cheaper tier, and I do it. I listen to what my clients want. That being said, if CGC does get them and there's a sticky grader there, and they say, well, this book's worth more than they're saying, they have the right to move your books into a different tier anyways. So you can try it if you really want to. Werewolf 32 back. 8 months. Wow. July of 2020. And see, I don't. Then, Mike, you just got that back recently, I guess. All I know is all the books I sent out in August, and I sent books of every tier. Hey, Tim, how you doing? Good to see you. Yours are coming up soon, my friend. I can't wait. Some beautiful books, guys. Tim sent in some amazing books. I can't wait to do what's in the press with Tim's books. You all are going to be loving those when we get there. But back to the Werewolf by Night 32. I don't know why it took quite that long. Like I said, I sent all my books in August. I had them all back. They were all done. I was just waiting for one. I had one kind of straggler that was there, and they wouldn't send back one book. I didn't want them to send back one book, but they were all done by January. So, August, September, October, November, December, January, 5 months. So I don't know who you sent your books. Did you send the books yourself? Mike, did you send the book by yourself, or did you send it through a dealer? You don't have to mention any names, by the way. Don't do that. No problem, Johnny. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. All right. Yeah. Again, that's right. We did talk about that. Now I remember. Yeah. Again, if you're waiting like crazy amounts of time for your books, and again, right now you can look at those turnaround times. They are pretty ugly. The turnaround times are worse now than they were back in the summer. But it depends how the person sending your book organizes the books, and what they have set up with CGC to return the books. Like with books right now at CGC, for me, they will ship as soon as I have 25 books ready. They'll ship them back, and that's why I'm asking people to try to submit orders of up to 25, 20 to 25. That way it saves you a bit of money when you're sending the books back. But if I have like that ASM one that I just had there, for example, they weren't going to send that book back. I had to in writing instruct them to send the book back by itself and to ship it out to the owner in Western Canada, and they did that. And same with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle books, both of them. I had to email them directly and say, please send that book back now, and then they did. Otherwise, they'll wait till 25 are done. Any more questions here? November. Yeah, that book's probably done. And now you're just waiting. And again, you're just waiting for the individual who submitted the book for you to have the book returned to him. But the book, yeah, if that book went to CGC in November, that X-Men book has definitely been done. I sent a reholder in for a fellow about a month and a half ago. It's just sitting there. It's done. It's waiting. It'll probably come back the next couple of weeks. It's really important that if you're submitting books to dealers, that they, again, and I talked a bit about this in my other video, you just want to make sure they give you some kind of a turnaround time and they adhere to it. There's always going to be situations where they can't promise it, and but for the most part, they should try to adhere to it to the best of their ability. Once the books leave me here, I have a pretty good idea when we're going to get them back. Yeah, that's a pretty long time. I'm not even sure how long I've been on here for, guys. Again, this is a quick video just going over the turnaround times at CGC. Has anybody, perhaps, I've got a few guys on here right now. Does anybody else have any information regarding that? Has anybody else heard anything? Because the news I have came directly from their website, but perhaps you've heard something that I am not privy to. Oh, Tim, yeah, I saw a video of a CGC grader flipping pages, and wow, he was going through quickly. He was lambasted. Yeah. Well, again, I mean, how much time can you spend on a book, right? I mean, I can't speak. Again, I've never watched them. I've never seen this video you're talking about. I can't imagine them having, it's like any business. They want you to get through it quickly, I would assume, quickly but thoroughly, right? But going that fast, you were certainly going to miss things. I mean, I've had books that were detached centerfolds, of my own that I've sent in, and they didn't catch it. No qualified label, comeback blue label. I had an X-Men 266 that was missing a staple. No mention of the missing staple whatsoever. Actually came back in 9.8. So again, I don't know what to say. I don't think they'd want to have cameras in their facility showing off how they do things. You know, what's your thought on CGC guys not using gloves on those higher value books? Well, Mike, were you hearing this? You actually heard that was happening? Don't 3 different people go over the book at CGC for the grading? Colin, you know, that's what I always thought. You know, I always thought that. But is that the case? I have a hard time believing that. Again, I don't know. They're saying it that's the way it is. And I always was told, oops, I'm going to transition back to here. Sorry, guys, I kept you off there. I'm just going back to, I'm going to put my own video up here so I'm not turning my head like this all the time reading your questions. Hold on a second here. There it is. Okay, well, I'm going to pause that so I don't... Well, that's not going to work. Okay. Sorry, guys. Just fixing my computer here. Yeah, I don't know about that. They should be wearing gloves with bigger books. But I'm going to tell you honestly, wearing gloves, whether it's the cotton gloves or the latex gloves or the vinyl gloves, I hate wearing gloves when I'm holding the books. I don't feel like I have a proper grip on a book. If I'm handling a book, I do not love to wear gloves. They claim it's to feel for glue on the spines. Yeah. Look, as long as your hands are, look, I can tell you, if you have oily skin or you sweat a lot from your hands, that's detrimental to the comic book. And I've seen the damage that a sweaty hand can have on a comic book, right? And like I said again in the other video, it's like almost like your hands are almost. The acids in your hands are almost like chemical stripper to the inks on the book, right? So if you actually handle a book and you're sweaty, then you can actually remove the ink from the book. I've seen that happen. But if your hands are clean and you're using lots of alcohol, to clean your hands frequently, I don't see a problem with it. I mean, just reading some more of your questions here. Yeah, back to that 3 different people going over the book. I don't know. I find that hard to believe that 3 different people go through it. A $20 book, you're going to have 3 different graders go through it? Maybe. Comicdom has a popular video guide using no gloves grading an AF-15. Yeah. Well, listen, I'm going to tell you, if the AF-15 is a 2.0, or a 1.8 or something like that, I don't think anything in your hand is going to make that comic any worse. But I'll tell you, if it was like a high grade AF-15, then I'd be wearing gloves. I mean, I worked on a Daredevil 1. It was a 9.2. Oh, yeah. I hate working on high grade books like that, but I worked on a 9.2 Daredevil, and it's like you have your kid, you're making sure the area is completely sterile. It's like you're doing surgery, right? Really doing surgery. And, it was aggravating, and I had gloves to handle it to a certain point, and then I just put paper over the areas I was working, so I wasn't actually physically touching the book. Because there was always that worry that I was going to get my oils on it. And the 9.2 went to a 9.6, by the way. The owner was quite happy. Yeah. CGC did a video explaining it too because of the backlash from the YouTube videos. Yeah, for sure. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Again, if the books are ratty and old, when I say ratty and old, I mean like, the books are a 5 or a 6. I don't think, and if your hands are clean, I don't think it's going to cause that much issue. But if you're working on a very high-end book, yeah, you want to wear gloves. If you're working on a book that's glossy, you definitely want to wear gloves. I'll tell you, the number of ASM 300s I work on with that black cover, the fingerprints on those babies is ridiculous. Or even the Wolverine #1 from 1988. That one's notorious for having finger smudges and fingerprints everywhere. Requires lots of cleaning. Luckily, on those books, it's just superficial. I can get that off. It's like the problem is when you have like I see it a lot actually on like ASM 129, the first Punisher book, where someone has a dirty, oily finger and they touch the front of the cover and they actually imprint their fingerprint onto it's almost like they burn the fingerprint with the oils onto the cover of the ASM 129. You can't get that off, especially if they lift it up and they actually lift the yellow off. Yeah, it's done. Sometimes if the black is on the yellow, you can buff it off a little bit, but it's hard. No, Tim, wasn't the biggest bump I ever had. It was a good bump, though. It was I think at the time, I believe at the time it was it was around the time of Fan Expo, I remember. And I think it was not last year, obviously, maybe the year, but 2 years ago, gentleman dropped off the 9.2 Daredevil about 2 weeks before Fan Expo. And I worked on it. I cracked it out, did the work on it. I said, maybe send it to CCS. When a book was over $10,000 at that time, and I was like, oh, I don't want to work on this book, but I did. And there was only 2 little minor imperfections, and I got rid of both of them. And the book was gorgeous. The pages were white, just beautifully white pages. And it was a 9.2, like I said. He sent it in for a rush. I saw him at Fan Expo, I remember. I'll never forget this. I came around the corner, he saw me, and he had this big smile on his face, like gleaming. And I knew right away it was a great bump. And I said, so? And yeah, he was pretty happy. 9.6. And I think the book went from a $10,000 book to like a $30,000 book in 2 weeks. Not bad. Yeah. Yeah. To answer Tim's question before yours, Chris, though, is I think one of the biggest, again, I put it in my Instagram account the other day or on Facebook. I think they were asking people for which graders they should use, and people were talking. There was one that I did. The best one is, his name was Todd. Hi, Todd, if you're out there. But Todd was at the Toronto Comic Book Show. And at the Toronto Comic Book Show, they're very generous. They give out great prizes, and Chris Reynolds can attest to this. But one day they gave out a giant size X-Men 1. It was a 5.5. And so this guy won it. And at the time, it was probably worth around $800, maybe, I think. And he comes right over to me, wins it, walks over to me, hands it to me, says, please press it and do your work. So I took it home, did my work, sent it away, came back at 8. That was a good one. He was ecstatic. And the other one was I think the ASM 129. It was a 7 or a 7.5, and it went to a 9.2. So yeah, there's been some crazy ones. Even the Ninja Turtle one I just did, the 5.5 to a 7.5 was a nice bump as well. The grossest thing I've ever seen in a comic. Well, this is okay. You know what I see lots of? Lots of snot. Believe it or not, I see lots of crusty. I assume it's snot. It looks like snot. That's gross. Makes me sick even thinking about it. So I see snot quite a bit. It's always hard, and sometimes it's inside the book. And as you're cleaning the book, like you mentioned, actually, the graders using their bare hands to kind of feel along the spine. Well, you have to kind of feel along the face of the comic too, to make sure there's no crumbs or particles inside the book, because when you press it, that'll come to the front or to the back depending on where it's located. So oftentimes I'll feel a bump, but I'm like, it's not. Open it up, and there's always a piece of like yellowy, orangey, green, gross. That, and of course the hairs. I see tons of hair. I don't know where the hair came from. I'm hoping it's beard hair, but it probably isn't. So I see a lot of gross hairs as well. And yeah, other than that, I don't like working on books that have like guys will send me books with they've been exposed to water, and there'll be tons of what do you call it? Mold. There'll be mold all over it, and it's not healthy, right? It's not healthy to be around mold. And so when I get books like that, if it's too severe, I'll just stuff it back in the bag and give it back. If it's a bit of mold, I'll work on it, but sometimes it's just riddled with mold. I'm like, no, not for me. Yeah. Well, if you're talking about graders' notes with snot, I remove the snot. I don't leave the snot there. I'm a snot remover in those comic books, believe it or not. Let's see here. I missed anything here? Colin Smith, you can say that again. It's gross. And I always get that kind of queasy, when I see it, I get that queasy feeling, And then I'm thankful I have gloves, because I don't want to touch that stuff. It's just disgusting. And it's probably been there for like, it's probably been there for like 30 years. It's like petrified snot. Can you clean foxing? You know what? I can to a certain extent. there was this guy out in Ottawa I was using who was quite adept at getting rid of foxing. And not only foxing, rust stains, foxing, any biological matter that's on the comic, water stains. You know, if you have like water damage without stains, no problem. But then water damage with stains, that can always be an issue. And this guy can get rid of that too. But he stopped taking the books. He's taking a bit of a break, so he's not available anymore. If it's a little bit of foxing, yeah, I can usually handle a little spot here and there. But if the whole back cover is riddled in foxing, or the whole front cover's got tons of foxing in it, I don't get into that. That's a can of worms I don't really want to deal with, because you can actually make it a lot worse than it is. I remember when I first experimented with foxing on my own books. It was sometimes it had great success. They turn out really well. Other times it made it looked worse, you know. So I didn't want to bother. So when I found this guy out in Ottawa who was doing this sort of work, I just sent people right to him. Just call him up and he'll clean the foxing. He's not doing it. There's another guy. Oh. I can tell you, I'm the comic doctor. This guy, I think, is called the comic scientist. The comic scientist, but he doesn't take a lot of books, and he did a Hulk 181 for a client of mine. It came back, he wasn't happy with the grade, and it had some foxing on the back, and so I sent him to that Ottawa guy. The Ottawa guy said no. He ended up finding this guy called the comic scientist. He's on YouTube. You can check him out. And he sent him the Hulk 181, and I seen the before and afters, and you're never going to get rid of it completely. It's still remnants, but boy, it's a lot nicer. It's a lot nicer. So I'm hopeful he's gonna bring the book back, I think this Saturday actually, and we're going to resend it and see if we can get a grade bump on that for him. But yeah, foxing, yeah. But I've had some good luck with spots. I'll tell you, I bought a collection of X-Men books. They're over there somewhere actually. I bought them about 2 years ago. I have no time to do my own books, guys. It's awful. But I have like a run from like, I don't know, 110 all the way up, like through the John Byrne stuff, all the way up into the late 170s. And they were beautiful books. I get them ready to press, and they're all covered in foxing. The back cover, I was so pissed off. I'm like, damn it. And so I started playing with some solutions to clean it up. And believe it or not, I got rid of a lot of foxing, and the books were coming back 9.6, 9.8, 9.6, 9.8, universal label. So yeah, my technique does work, but it's very time consuming. So I have to sit there and clean a whole back cover. I'm not interested. And again, especially if it causes problems. How many presses do I currently have? Well, right behind me here, I'll kind of get these two guys here, 1 and 2. Those are the two big guys. Those are the 550Ts. Those are the I can get nine into this guy and 9 into the guy beside him. And then behind my banner here, and I'm not getting rid of my banner because this whole room is I did my income taxes today, and my room's covered in paperwork. You can't see that through the magic of production. But I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 more. So I got 4 smaller presses right now going and 2 large presses. If I were to go full hog in here, so I got 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. I could do 25 books in one shot if I had to, but I don't. The book's always got to go back. I've been finding lately I'm so picky that I just don't put them in once and take them out and put them in a bag. It's like they go in, maybe half of them have to go back in again, or 3/4 usually. I shouldn't say half, probably 3/4 got to go back in again, and lucky a quarter will be done with one press. So, but because of work and other things, I'm doing about 35, 40 books a week in around there. And that's probably why it's taking so long to get through everyone's books. But that's the way it goes. Hey, Comic Night, how's it going? What's happening? Are you doing any sales today or coming up? I think you said you're taking a break for a little while, right? But yeah. Well, Colin, there are things I do that I don't tell everybody. Everybody has their own little tricks of the trade, right? That Captain Mike or whatever his name is on Google, he gives out a lot of information on pressing and cleaning, right? Some things I agree with, some things I'm like, I don't really find that too useful. Like, I mean, if you go to his website and he shows you all the different cleaning utensils you can use. I did that video a couple days ago on the dry cleaning tools. I just find, for me, that's all I need to make it work. But he gives you a whole slew of different things you can use, and you can try everything and see what works for you and what doesn't work for you. But I have little tricks to getting, dents out that are being a little stubborn dents. I mean, anybody can prep a book and shove it in a press and close it and leave it. But then when it comes out of the press after it's cooled and you're looking at it with your light, knowing when you can stop and knowing when you should stop is a good thing. Some people, because you can be a little bit OCD, I guess, when you have a book. And I can be that way too, where I get a book and I want it to be as perfect as possible, and I'm keep working on one little spot over and over and over again. But no matter what I do, it's done. It's not going to get any better. So you have to know when to leave it alone and walk away. Otherwise, you're never going to move ahead. That's always a danger. So my advice is to practice, first of all, and use all the tools online and all the different methods that people are talking about. The one thing I don't understand, though, all these guys are using t-shirt presses. I tried the t-shirt press, man, and I just found, unless you're modifying it somehow, I don't see how the heck you can actually get those results. These guys here are the best. These dry mount presses are the best. And even these old-fashioned ones down here. These guys down here, where is it? Whoop, these guys. These ones here are really old. They're like probably from I'm going to say the mid 70s probably. And they're old, they're temperamental. The thermostats are really rickety. But I've learned how to fix the thermostats on them. So I could take the thing apart and put it back together again. But they give a damn good press. They're a great little press. And you can find those for nothing. You can find those I bought most of mine for like $75. I'm not even joking. You just got to keep your eye open, and when you find it, grab it. Sometimes you got to clean out take the electrical out and kind of clean the electrical up a little bit because it's old. The switches, I've changed a couple of switches on, the on-off switch. My next thing I want to do is try to put a digital thermostat on those. That's the problem with them. You can't. The thermostat is so old and not very controllable. So you don't want to be putting modern books in there, because when I say modern, I mean like the last 10 years, because those have a tendency to sometimes spike. And if you put like a Ultimate Fallout in there, like you were talking about Ultimate Fallout in there, and then it spikes to 170, your book's done. It's toast, literally, right? Thanks, Sandy. Live sales every other Tuesday, but okay, guys, yeah, you should, if you haven't done so already, take a second and follow Comic Night. He started doing live sales on about a month or so ago. It's been pretty recent, right? You can follow him on Instagram, and you can follow him on YouTube, I believe. And yeah, give him your business. He's a very nice guy. He has a lot of nice books. So give Comic Night a follow. And Tim, what's my oldest comic book right now? You know what I just sold and I really regret it? And it wasn't that old. It was like a wartime book. It was Captain Marvel 57. It was a nothing book, but it was signed by Otto, right? And it was signed by him, signature verification. And another guy, a client of mine, came to drop off some books, and he had some Captain Marvel in his stack. And I said, oh, I just picked up Captain Marvel signed by the creator. He's like, no way. And so I went and grabbed it, had no intention of selling it. Gone. Sold. I have one old Captain America, like number 26 or something like that, or 19, or I forget. And I have an Action Comics as well from, I think, 39. No, not 39. That can't be right. 41, I think it is. So probably early 40s are my oldest books right now. No problem, Sandy. Yeah, Golden Age. I have finished all. Maybe I'll do a show and tell video at some point. I have to bring the books in here. They're not here. And show you all my Silver Age goodness. I have finally completed my Marvel key collection. So I have all the big Marvel books, which is great. And I was hoping to get the secondary heroes now, but the prices have gone so stupid. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, unfortunately. But Colin, going back to you, you never know. I'll probably do more videos on tips and tricks too. I might do a video where I actually go over one of these presses and show you much closer and show you how I set it all up. I might even show people there's no videos on YouTube on how to adjust and set the thermostat on these old things. A couple of tricks I've learned to make them more accurate in terms of the temperature. John Dakota, Johnny, what are your feelings absorbing putty? I don't see them seem to see any results from it. I stick to the white. I like the white erasers too, man. I'm with you on that. Absorbing, I don't know. I like I said, my chem sponges. I think like these. I have one here, a dirty one. My chemical sponges is an old one I just had from the video the other day. These guys are the best, and these aren't called absorbing though. I think there's something different. I've seen guys even use, and I always thought it was a bad idea, but I've seen guys actually use what do you call it? Excuse me, like the Mr. Clean erasers. I had a friend of mine, a local guy, he was using it to clean his old detective comic books, his Batman books. I'm like, are you crazy? Don't there's got to be ammonia in that. There is ammonia in that, and perhaps some kind of bleaches. I said, don't be using that on your comics. I mean, I thought it was a bad idea. I've never used a Mr. Clean eraser on my comics, although I've seen tons of videos of guys using it. So again, that's something I don't use. Maybe it works for some people. You might want to try, but absorbing, I've had no luck. The absorbing is like that putty, right? I think I tried that stuff too. Very slow, and I agree with you. I think the white is the best. Comics by Bueller, looking good, my friend. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I shaved my beard off. Notice that? It's gone. Couldn't do it anymore. I like a nice beard that's groomed nicely, and I used to go to my barber, and she would do the whole, 1 hour hot cloths and the shaving and grooming can all look perfect and chiseled and whatever. And I'm tired, man. This COVID sucks. I haven't had a good beard trim in over a year now because of this. So I'm going to the goatee. It's just easier. Yeah. I think I'm going to probably do, when I get some time, I'm probably going to try and have another sale at some point. I know Chris Reynolds, you're out there. You do a lot of sales on Facebook. And that's another gentleman you might want to follow, guys, is Christopher Reynolds. Find him on Facebook. He puts on these amazing sales. And Chris always has a ton of fantastic books. I should know because I've done a lot of his books. A lot of them are at CGC right now getting graded. But his raw collection is quite good too. And he puts a lot of nice books up for sale. So you might want to check him out. I'm not sure, Chris, if you're having a sale anytime soon. But whenever you do, it always seems to be quite successful. So I certainly like to watch it. Yeah, Johnny, the chem sponges. Where are you located, Johnny? Are you Canada or United States? Whereabouts are you? Well, if you're in Canada, I think the cheapest place that I found was a place in Ontario called Haz Masters, H-A-Z Masters. That's where I buy mine from. And I just buy a bundle of them and they last me a long, long time. But again, you got to be careful. You can't leave them in the open air. Like if I leave this one out for a couple of days, this one actually feels kind of moist still. But if you leave it out long enough, it dries right out and they're no good anymore. But, Vancouver, yeah. So I'm not sure if Haz Masters has a location out there. You might want to look them up and see. And basically what they do at that place is they deal with like disasters, like floods and fires and such. And they sell equipment to, abatement companies for like getting rid of, what do you call it? I guess not lead. What do you call it? Asbestos and stuff like that, right? They sell that kind of equipment to those companies. And one of the things they do sell are chem sponges. I think they do call them chem sponges. So you can check them out. If you don't have a Haz Masters out there or a similar store, Amazon does have them. I checked the other day, so Amazon has them. And also another place you could find them also are art restoration websites. But I find they charge way too much for them. Art restoration. So if you look up art restoration in Google, you'll find some places that have them. Yeah. So anyhow, guys, I think that's about it for today. Unless you've got some more questions, I'm going to take off. I didn't want it to be a very long video, but what ends up happening is we end up shooting the breeze, right? Which is cool. Thursday night, So a little bit about my schedule right now. I am, if you're interested in sending books to me, I am, people are sending me books all the time. I get packages almost every single day. Even though I said don't send books, people still send books. I am going to try to get the bulk of my books that are on hand done. I'd say like 75% of them done over the April break. We have an April break coming up here. So I'm going to try to work diligently to get as much as I possibly can done that week. And once that's done, I can start bringing books in again. But my turnaround is pretty ugly right now. If you want them really fast, I'm probably not the man you want to go to at the moment. But they will get done. That's for sure. I promise you that much. Just sometimes a little bit longer than I would like. Oh, oh, there we go. And oh, did Tim say something there? Oh, Tim, I don't know. I don't think so. I just don't think they will. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. CGC just seems to have the grip on it. And don't get me wrong, CBCS has their following, a very loyal following too. And so does CGC. I don't know. It's a customer service thing, I think. And I actually thought at one point, I thought, wouldn't it be cool to start a grading company? Wouldn't that be neat in Canada to have a grading company up here? Or maybe CGC or CBCS or the other guy might want to have a location up here in Canada. And there was actually an opportunity presented to me about 3 years ago by the fella who runs Halo Grading out of Australia. And I contemplated it for a while about doing it, but I you know what? I said no. I can't imagine the headaches that those companies endure with people calling, where are my books? Where are my books? And dissatisfied with the grades and all. It's just a big mess. And it's a very almost thankless business, and I don't think I'd want anything to do with it. So I do sympathize with both companies, with both of the challenges that both companies are facing. I hope CBCS gets their crap together and gives CGC a run for their money. I don't like to see a monopoly in any business, but I don't know. They're going to have to step it up a little bit. Yeah, well, I think CBCS is a little quicker, but I don't think they're like super fast either, to be honest with you. I think all these different grading companies and I think people are fed up with CGC. They're going to go to CBCS. So what happens then? Then they start getting busy. And I don't think that CBCS has a staff that CGC has. So when they start feeling the pressure, their wait times are going to increase too. And then things go wrong. And that's where I think CBCS's problems often lie, is that when they get overwhelmed with the work, then the mistakes start happening. I after my video that I did a few weeks ago or a couple weeks back about my experience with them, I got a lot of emails and phone calls from people who gave me their own experiences, and it was very similar to mine and very frustrating for them. So, that's the thing. You don't want quality to subside, and that's kind of what I do here too. I mean, I don't want my quality to subside either. I know I take a little longer than most. But I can honestly tell you, the books don't go in once, unless they only need once, but they oftentimes go in more than once, 2-3 times. And I take great care in making sure the book's as good as it can possibly get. And that's that. I don't do quick presses. I take my time, make sure it's done right. Oh, Ben Kelly's in the house. Hey, Ben. There you go. Last order I sent took 11 months. Oh my gosh. That is ugly. Yeah, that's too long, man. 11 months. But I got to ask you, Ben, again, did you send those books yourself or did somebody else? Because that's the thing, right? I mean, if you all everybody that's here sends me books, and I start with the first person. I start with with Comic Knight's books, and I work on his books. 10 books. I put them away. And then I work on Johnny Dakota's books, and I put his away, 5 books. And then I do, Tim Metter gives me 25 books, nice ones. I put those away, and I'm going to wait. I'm going to put them in a big box and ship them all down at one time to save some money on shipping. So what that means is that, Comic Knight and Johnny Dakota are waiting until I get all the rest of the guys' books done. Their books are done, but they're sitting in storage until I get everybody's done. That's the problem. That's the problem a lot of these pressers are facing. That's a problem I was facing. I did that for a long time. I would not send books down until I had like 200, 300 books, and I'd put them in these big giant boxes, sometimes 2 boxes, and they'd FedEx them down. And it was a lot of work. And that would take me a couple of days sometimes to organize it, to enter all the data, to pack it all up, oh my God. And I hated it. I hated doing it. I dreaded it. I dreaded doing CGC because it was a nightmare. And then I had to stop pressing because I had to turn my office here into a shipping center instead. And it's not a very big space here, guys. I don't want to, again, I'm not going to pan out here because it's a mess in here, but it was a nightmare, right? And so that's what I think a lot of dudes are facing. So when you say it was 11 months, Ben, oh, Oakville office. Don't get me started on the Oakville office. What a joke that is. Anyways, same thing with the Oakville office. You think Oakville's going to send one box down? They're doing the exact same thing the other presses are doing, and the shops are doing, the comic shops. They're collecting a large amount of books before they send. So the way I'm alleviating that is I'm not doing that anymore. It's going to cost people more money, a little bit more money, but your books are going to come back. They should come back faster. So as soon as I'm done your books, they're gone. Within 5 days, they're out of here. They're not waiting for anybody anymore. So if I finish, Johnny's books go within 5 days. They're going to Florida. They're not waiting for the other 5 guys' books to get done. And I think that's going to fix the problem. I don't imagine turnaround times for me. Well, again, now that CGC's times are so crappy, it's going to affect it anyways. But I mean, it's not going to be as bad. It shouldn't be 11 months. It shouldn't be, that's crazy. That Oakville office, I heard another nightmare about that today. Thanks. Oh, Tim, man, me too. When I was unpacking your books, Tim, I'm like, wow. Every book, I'm like, the first shipment you said had nothing even close to this. This is like a whole other level of books. I'm so excited. No, I'm not going to. I'd show you. I'll show you Tim's books when they go through what's in the press. I'll save that for the show, not for this. Oshawa now. Yeah, well, Sandy, it's not even that. It's also customs. It's FedEx screwing up sometimes, and then customs screwing up sometimes. It's just a pain. It's still a pain. That's never going to go away. Like I have a deal with I use a broker. FedEx is my broker too. So they have a company called the FedEx Trade Networks, and they clear packages at the border. So I was getting charged every time a package would come through, and always from CGC, right? Never from anywhere else. It's the same package, same contents, no surprises. Every time I get a package, I get a customs clearance bill of anywhere between $25 and $50. It'd be magical. They would no consistency whatsoever. So I finally had enough. I phoned them up. I said, what the hell's going on here? I go, I can't run a business where I don't know what to charge people, because one day you're charging me this and the next day you're charging me that. So we kind of went back and forth, and we negotiated a flat rate. So now, whenever a package comes over the border, I get charged. I think it's like $18.99 plus 13% HST, right? Great. And it worked for a while. Every box that CGC sends me, they put this little label on there to go through the trade network. So it bypasses all the baloney and it comes straight to me. I get charged my $24 or whatever, and it's done. When it works, I'd say it works maybe 20% of the time. The rest of the time, it goes right. The trade networks miss it, and then FedEx takes it, and they end up charging me that $30 or $40 again. So I have to call FedEx, and I have to send them all the invoices, and they credit me back. And I'm just tired of it. I don't even do that anymore. They charge me, I just pay it. It's so much time and effort. Yeah, so it's a pain. Colin Smith, how much more is what compared to the others? Scared of a strong event, overwhelmed, the one tripping over boxes and bubble wrap. Yeah. Again, it's so much easier. I finish your books. I walk over to my computer. I type in, if I got 10 or 15 books to submit, that takes 10 minutes and it's done. Versus 350 books. That's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of work. Yeah, and it's a headache. It's a headache. Your price. Are you talking about my FedEx Trade Networks price? Yeah, UPS is stupid expensive. So UPS, they're tricky, eh? I bought an Ultra Saber for my son 2 summers. Was it last summer Oh my gosh, I think it was last summer. Yeah, it was last summer. We got an Ultra Saber. An Ultra Saber is like a lightsaber company. They actually build lightsabers. There's a video of it actually in my just for fun section if you want to see me and my son unwrapping these two lightsabers we got. And UPS cleared it, and it was like stupid expense, like $45-50 to clear this package. I was so angry. I said, "Give me a break, right?" So but the thing that UPS does, they always call and they say, "Hey, we got a box here." Because a lot of clients, I have a ton of US clients too, guys, and they'll send the book. Sometimes I tell them, please send FedEx. Sometimes they don't. They want to use UPS. They do. I get a call at the border. They say, "Oh, it's UPS calling. Do you want us to clear your package?" And I say, no, don't clear my package. Send it to FedEx Trade Networks. And so that goes to FedEx Trade Networks, and I get charged my flat rate when that happens. But UPS, they are very, very expensive. I just find FedEx has been the most reliable. Even though they screw up with the not recognizing my boxes, even though I'm labeling the way they told me to, they're still better than UPS, in my opinion. Oh, bulk orders, there's no real difference in price, man. And you're going to pay a little bit more for shipping, but you're going to get your books back not in a year. Like, I don't want to have anybody's books out for a year. I don't understand that. I don't understand why it shouldn't take that long. If I send a book today, so what is it? The longest, I got it 76 days. Well, I never use value anyways. I never ever used the value tier. I stopped using the value tier like 4 years ago. I use value tier fast track. It costs $37. So it'd be what? 31 days. So the longest, so 50 days would be, okay, economy, 67 days. That's the longest. 20, 40, so 3 months. So if I send books right now through economy, I'm going to get them back probably in about 3.5 months. Right? 3.5 months. If I have your books to press, if you give me your books right now to press, I'd probably get them done in about 2 months. Realistically, with my backlog, about 2 months. So 2 months for that, 3 months for that, you have your books back in under 6 months, right? Even with CGC's current turnaround times. So if you're waiting longer than that, then it's because they're just sending books down in bulk, and your books are sitting around. That's the only reason. So the way I'm suggesting to do things is to send the books down as soon as they're done, no matter, because it doesn't cost. If I send one book to CGC, like ungraded book, or say 15 or 20 books in a little package, it's probably not going to cost more than $40. So that's what it's going to cost, $40, gone. Even like 25, 35, 40 books is probably not more than $50, $60, gone. And once they're there, it gets in the queue at CGC, you get them back faster. That's my opinion anyways. Couldn't you fix this with using CBCS with Canadian address top send subs? You're talking about that again, the Oakville location? Is that what you're talking about, Colin? The Oakville location? Well, the Oakville location, I hear, okay, when CBCS announced they had a Canadian location, I was flipping out. I'm like, okay, game changer. Game changer. No more customs baloney. My books are going to Oakville. They're getting graded. Right? And given back to me. I was excited. As a Canadian, finally a company has recognized us Northerners. But guess what? It was a little too good to be true, because they weren't grading the books on. And at first they told people they were grading books here. I remember calling and saying, "So you're grading my books in Oakville?" And the dude there said, "Yeah." Bull crap. They weren't grading no books in Oakville. The books are being sent down to Texas. But the same thing was happening, guys. They weren't sending down a pack of 40 books. They were waiting till they had a huge, enormous number of books, and then they ship. So books would sit there for a long time. And guess what? Canada Post does the exact same thing, by the way. If you ever noticed, if you've sent, say, a comic to Australia, right? I sold a lot of Star Wars toys. God, I wish I never did. To Australia. And sometimes, and I would just send them in a regular, overseas, whatever it was called, the cheapest service. Sometimes the books would get there. They tell you, warning, 3 to 4 months delivery. Sometimes a book would get there in a month. I'm like, what? Or even 3 weeks. I was like shocked. Other times it would take that full amount of time, 3-4 months to get there. The reason being is when you give a parcel to, if you're paying for the most expensive service, they'll fly it there fast. But a standard service, they take your parcel, Canada Post, and they put it in a container. And the next guy gives a parcel and they put it in the container. When that container is full, it goes on a boat, arrivederci, and or I guess it would be on a boat, and they'd send it off to Australia. Maybe it goes in a plane. I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's in a boat, to be honest with you. So Canada Post waits until this huge container is full before they send anything. That's why. So you drop off your parcel at Canada Post. It sits at Canada Post warehouse for 2-3 months before it even leaves Canada. Right? So that's the exact same thing that CBCS is doing, I would imagine, in Oakville. They're taking your parcel, thank you, and they don't send it right away. They don't. If you happen to give them your parcel just as a container is full, then it will go. Otherwise, if you're giving to them at the very beginning, then there's a good chance that it's going to be around for a while. Yeah. And Colin, there's another story. I heard a story today about that whole CBCS in Oakville thing, which kind of didn't make me very happy. One sec, guys. I'm gonna fix my computer here. What's going on with that? Huh. My stream's not going. Anyways, one of my clients called me today to talk about that CBCS Oakville thing. He sent his books about 8 months ago, and they were returned to Oakville during COVID. And they were sitting in the Oakville office for a few months, and he wanted them to ship the books. He wanted to pick them up. They said, no, we're not taking anybody. He said, well, can I just send my FedEx to pick? No. And they wouldn't do that. That I don't understand. So the guy's books are in Oakville. He wants his books back. And they said, well, because of COVID, we can't go in. I'm like, that's baloney. I have my office here in Oshawa. If I want to go work in my office, I can go anytime I want. I can't necessarily have 15 people in my office with me, but I can go there and work, right? If I have books that need to be shipped out, Canada Post is still running, FedEx is still running, why can't I ship the books out? So I was kind of perplexed as to why CBCS in Oakville wouldn't ship this guy's books back to him. He was very upset about it. You know, they've been gone for so long, and I'm sure he wasn't the only one. So yeah, I can't in good conscience say, yeah, great idea. Send him through the Oakville office. I don't know. They actually, yeah, you will save on some customs fees possibly, you know. But then again, if you send through, but you know, another thing, I never mentioned this earlier. I found out today that Paradise is not sending books anymore right now. I know that Comic Book Addiction and Whitby's not sending books anymore at the moment. R&D Comics have stopped sending books at the moment. I'm not sure about Gotham, but basically because the times are so long, a lot of these dealers don't want to do it right now because they don't want to deal with the backlash from clients saying, "Hey, where are my books?" Because the wait times are so crazy. They're making they decide to hold off on their CGC submissions. But I haven't stopped. I'll send them in. As long as everybody's aware of the wait, then what's the big deal? Customers sell books right away. Would you consider doing consignment? Me? I don't have time for that. I wish. A lot of my clients do sell books right away. Some of them do kind of what you do, actually, saying that they have like Facebook sales or what have you. But yeah, I would just ask around on Facebook if anybody wants their books to be consigned through you. There's that one guy on Instagram who does quite well. Elite Comics, I think his name is. Ali, I think his name is. He just sold a buddy of mine here in Oshawa had a Superman #1 and a lot of other big books, and he sold them through this guy. And this guy's based out of California, but he's got a very good following. So once you grow that following, you can then maybe ask for consignment books. This guy I think charges 7% to sell the books too. So yeah. So yeah, Colin, I don't know. I the thing is, you could actually save on customs if you just use the dealer too. But like I said, the dealers aren't doing it right now. Setting none keys there. Thought it would at least take care of customs fees. Yeah, I think. Are you sending your books yourself, Colin? I guess you are, eh? CGC, if CGC sends the books back to you using their preferred method, which is FedEx International Express, it's not cheap. But if you use that, there are no customs fees. I can tell you right now, there's no HST, there's no customs fees, nothing. It's a higher tier of FedEx. You're paying a little more, but it's all included. So when you get they send the books out, it comes right back to you. But I think for 25 books, I'm not sure what the actual price is. If someone wants to pipe up, oh, I went through you when you weren't backlogged. If your books don't need to be pressed and cleaned, if you're just going to send the books, I can do it for you. Just give me a call, right? Just give me a holler. Like a gentleman just dropped off some books at my shop last week. I think another presser, I think, did the books. I'm sending it for him. I'm doing him that favor. I charge him a small fee to do all the paperwork and what have you, and I'll ship the books for him. And they're going right back to his. There's enough books that'll be shipped right back to him as well. So that's kind of nice. That's another thing too. Whether you're in Canada or the United States, well, the United States is another thing. But if you're in Canada, until you're in BC or if you're in Nova Scotia or whatever, if you organize the books you submit to me by tier, if you send me like 25 of one or 20 to 25 moderns or 20 to 25 standards or whatever, I can have those books sent directly back to you right from CGC to you. I'm cut out of it. It goes right back to you. And the same in the States, one box. But as soon as you introduce a different tier, they don't want to combine the shipping with the tiers, which really sucks. So if you have 20 moderns and 5 economies, you're going to get a box of 20 moderns, and then whenever the economies are done, they'll ship those back separately. So if you're in Canada, that's friggin' expensive. If you're in the United States, it's not that big a deal. It's not that expensive. It really isn't. The FedEx they use there is pretty inexpensive. So, yeah. But Colin, again, if you want me to, if they're done, there's no pressing involved, I can have them out of here in a week and a half probably, right? But again, give me a holler if you want, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, what time is it? Yeah, I want to go to bed. It's midnight. I'm going to go to bed. I'm tired. I was debating whether to even do a show tonight, or to do a live stream. But I just want to talk again about CGC wait times and what have you. Again, with their wait times and with my wait times, I anticipate the books will still be back between the 4 to 7 months. The books should be pressed, cleaned, graded, and returned. All right, unless now the times change again on CGC's end. I'm not sure. Also, I guess all of you already know that Stavros won my draw. There's another draw going on right now. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, and most of you probably have, but if you haven't, please do so. Share my videos if you wouldn't mind. That'd be fantastic. I want to get more people on board here. I like to do more of these videos. I'm even thinking of doing videos on like the movies, some of the movies that are out, and some of the TV shows that are currently airing on Disney Plus. I love watching them. I love talking about them. So I thought I'd do that as well, but that's coming up. There's only so much time in the day, right? But if you could subscribe and like, when I hit 600 subscribers, I'm going to give out some more free grading and pressing. And then when I hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to give out an even bigger prize. So please do that, okay? And until next time, more questions coming in. That always happens, eh? I've always wanted to get my books graded, but with all the problems people are having these days, I don't know. Yeah, I guess. But you know what? CGC has not closed during this whole ordeal. Right? CGC is not closed at all. It's been working, maybe a skeleton crew at one time, but they have been working the whole time. So I wouldn't be too concerned about that. And sorry was late to the show. Are you taking submissions? I am taking submissions, but they're honestly, I won't get to them for a month or two at this point. I'm really backed up. But what I recommend, if you want to get in my queue, go to my website, comicdoctor.com, and fill out the submission form and fill it all out, submit it. Once you've done that, print out a copy for yourself. You're going to have a date on there. That's your date. right? That puts you in my order. If you don't do that, if you come to me in 2 months and go, oh, my book's done right now, well, I might not be able to accommodate that. But if you already have a form in my queue run, then I can, that's good for you and me both, right? So that's what I recommend you do. Okay, RP? Yeah. Robbie Prime, I'd love to work with you. Yeah, I look forward to that as well. Thank you. Yeah, so Mojo again, I wouldn't worry too much about it. And again, while the books are here, anytime you want them back, I'll ship them back to you. If you decide, you know what, I don't want to send them down, I can just put them back in a box and ship them back. Or if you're local, come down and pick them up. They're not your books. Once they're here, they're not hostage. They can be returned to you just as easily as they were sent in. Okay, so don't worry about that. If things change, or if there's a lockdown somewhere and the books are pressed and I was about to send them, I'll just hold off. I'll just keep them safe until the green light happens again, right? So I wouldn't be too concerned about that. All right, Comic Night, Sandy, thanks very much. All right, guys, again, thank you so much. I am going to take off now. Again, please hit the subscribe button, like button, all that stuff. Leave some comments below. By doing so, if this video is chosen, you know how it goes. I will pick somebody who leaves a comment on this video, if that's what the lucky number ends up being. All right, guys, until next time, take care. Thanks for popping by. Hey, have a happy Easter. And as happy as it could be under these circumstances, and do have a nice long weekend. Take care. Bye now.